Have you ever wondered why Scorpio is the most feared sign of the zodiac? It is no coincidence. There is a forbidden secret behind the energy that this sign carries, a secret that few have the courage to reveal. Scorpion is not just an astrological symbol, it is a spiritual seal, a mystical mark stuck in the soul of those born under this constellation, a mark that, according to American prophet Edgar Cayce, keeps power as deep as he is dangerous. He claimed that Scorpio is the channel of the most intense spiritual transformation that exists, and that his natives carry an energy code that can both heal and destroy. What makes this energy so unique is precisely what makes it dangerous. Scorpio is the portal between the visible and the invisible. It is the one who sees beyond the surface, who feels what no one says, who is present what is about to happen. But this sensitivity does not come without a price. The fate of those born under this sign is marked by trials, falls, losses, and rebirths. Because Scorpio is the sign of symbolic death and internal resurrection, he is the only one who can die 1,000 times and return stronger in each of them. This force, however, scares. Scares because it's intense, because it is magnetic, because it transforms everything it plays. And that is why so many judge him badly. They call cold, vengeful, distant. But behind the Scorpion silence there is a constant energy field, guided by something that Cayce himself described as the heaviest spiritual mission of the zodiac. If you are Scorpion, you may have felt it. Perhaps I grew up feeling it was different. I felt too much. That carried something within him that no one could explain. It is not imagination. It is the spiritual signature of your sign acting on you. And in this video you will understand why this energy is so misunderstood, and why it cannot be tamed by anyone. Stay until the end, because what will be revealed here can finally make you understand everything you have always felt and could never explain. If at some point in your life you have already felt like you were carrying a strength that no one else could understand, so this video is about you, because Scorpio did not come into the world to be common. It came to live intensely, feel deeply, and above all, transform. But for that, you need to understand the root of this energy, recognizing that what you lived to this day was not in vain. Each loss, every pain, each rupture was part of a much larger process, which only the chosen ones are able to support. So now I want you to take a deep breath and think, how many times have you felt that the universe was shaping you through suffering? How many times have you looked inside and realized that something in you was preparing for something grand, even when everything seemed to crumble? If this makes sense to you, write here in the comments, I carry this energy. This is not just a sentence, it is a recognition, a seal, a spiritual confirmation that you are awake. And if this content has already started playing something inside you, if you are feeling like you were finally hearing a truth that no one ever said aloud, so leave your like now. This shows to the universe and to the algorithm that this message needs to reach Scorpios, and also to those who live with such deep energy. Take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel, not only to continue receiving content like this, but because here you are not alone. Here, each sign is respected as a soul. Here, pain is translated as a mission. And here you will be remembered, with each new video, that there is a greater spiritual purpose in everything you feel. The journey is just beginning, and what comes next will reveal you truths that have been hidden for centuries. Have you ever felt that you keep a force you can heal or destroy? Have you been afraid of what you feel, what you can tease with just one look, a word, a decision? If you are Scorpion, this is not delirium, it is destination, a silent truth that accompanies your soul from birth. There is something about you that others do not understand, and often you cannot explain. It is an intense, almost indomitable vibration, as if inside your chest there was an eternal flame that warms and burns at the same time. This Scorpion force is not visible to the naked eye, but is felt. She pulsates in her silence, her sharp intuition, how you watch everything around you without saying one word. While others speak, you feel. While others try to understand reality with logic, you dive into the invisible. And that is precisely why so many fear you, and so many others come to you in secret, because they feel that there is something in you that plays deeper layers of existence, something spiritual, something that challenges what is common. Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, said that those born under the sign of Scorpion were marked by a heavy spiritual mission. They are not here by chance. They are alchemists of the soul. They are those who walk between light and shadow because they need to dominate both worlds. Scorpion was not made to live superficially. Can't. Loves too much, suffers too much, feels too much. It is pure intensity. It is constant transformation. And this energy, when misunderstood, even yourself, becomes dangerous. Not dangerous in the sense of causing maliciously, but because what is not recognized becomes shadow. How many times have you been isolated because you felt that no one could accompany you? How many times have you swallowed your own pain not to look too dramatic? How many times did you feel I was connected with something bigger, but I didn't know where to fit this feeling? This is because Scorpion is one of the most spiritually complex signs of the zodiac. It carries in itself the energy of regeneration, the destruction it frees, the symbolic death that precedes the Renaissance. Nothing in your life comes easy. Nothing is shallow. Everything is deep, dense, full of hidden meanings. Perhaps since I was a child, you realized that you saw things that others didn't see. I felt the truth between the lines. He realized when someone lied, even with the most convincing smile on his face. You felt the environment change just entering a place. It was as if your soul was always on alert, capturing everything, absorbing everything. This is the curse and gift of Scorpio, living with the eyes of the soul always open, even when everything around it tries to erase this vision. But that doesn't make you weak. On the contrary, make you sacred. Scorpio is governed by Pluto, the planet of the depths, death, reconstruction. Nothing goes unpunished by the energy of this archetype. When a Scorpio enters someone's life, he transforms, whether with love, pain, silence, or presence. You may try to resist, but no one comes out the same after crossing the path of someone who carries this vibration. Because Scorpion has the power to unmask, to reveal, to heal wounds that no one else had the courage to play. But before healing the other, he must survive his own internal storm. And that's where the true mission is. It is not about protecting yourself from the world. It is about understanding that its intensity is a spiritual tool, that your pain has meaning, that your past, however difficult it was a path of preparation. Every betrayal, every loss, every disappointment, all this shaped you to be what you are, a channel between the sky and the underworld, someone who can cross the darkness and bring light back. If you have already cried in silence because you felt that no one understood you, if you were afraid of your own power, if you have already felt that your silence speaks more than 1,000 words, then you are in the right place. You are not alone. This is the journey of those who were chosen, and what will be revealed from here can finally help you understand why you are as you are. So now that you have come here, I want to make you an important request. If all this has been said so far has resonated inside you, if at some point you felt shudder, you recognized yourself in this description, comment below, "I carry this energy." Write this, not only as a sentence but as a recognition of who you are. If you want, you can also write, "I feel too much," or even, "The world never understand what I carry." These phrases are spiritual stamps. These are statements that not only strengthen you, but create an invisible network among all who, like you, feel too much. Leave your like now if it has touched your heart, because it shows to the universe, and to the algorithm, that this message needs to reach other Scorpions. And if you haven't signed up yet, that's the moment. Since ancient times, long before modern astrology labeled Scorpion as just an intense or vengeful sign, it has been known. Scorpions are guardians of invisible portals, portals that connect this reality to deepest, denser, and spiritually delicate dimensions. We are not talking about common leadership, stage charisma, or external domain. We are talking about a rare type of leadership, the spiritual, the one that happens in silence, in the look that crosses, in the presence that moves the unconscious of others without needing a single word. Scorpio does not lead with imposition, leads with transformation. Anyone who lives with a Scorpio knows, either you reveal yourself or you hide, because this energy has the power to bring out all that is stored. That's why so many people feel uncomfortable near you without knowing why. It is as if their simple presence mirrored everything that the other does not want to see in itself. This is gift. This is weight. This is mission. You feel that, don't you? That where you arrive, nothing is the same. That you attract broken, wounded, lost, and that they often approach without even knowing why. It is because your soul emanates a silent call. The alchemists called this magnetism of chaos. You are a kind of invisible curator, but you need to learn to cure yourself first so as not to carry the weight of the whole world on your back. The problem is that this is not always understood. You are judged for being distant, cold, reserved, but in fact you are protecting something sacred within you, your internal temple. And this temple needs silence, of introspection, of removal. Scorpion feels too much, absorbs everything, and needs time to digest. Emotions that others don't even notice. But even in silence, you see, even when you say nothing, you know. You present what is coming. You recognize the pain of the other only by the tone of voice, by the vibration of the presence. This is not learned. This is not taught. This is a mark of soul. This is the archetype trait of the hidden guardian. The ancient occultists knew that Scorpio was the closest sign of the spiritual initiates, those who cross the darkest valleys of existence and come back wisely, not to sport but to serve. You came with this mission, even when he doubted himself, even when I wanted to give up, even when he didn't understand why he seemed to carry weights that no one else saw. The answer is simple and at the same time great. You were chosen. And being chosen is not glamour, it is delivery. It is facing your own abysses and continuing standing. How many times have you had to rebuild yourself in silence? How many times burned inside while smiling outside? How many times have been accused of exaggerated when I was just feeling intensely what others avoided feeling? All of this is part of the Scorpio journey. It is not weakness, it is cut. The universe is constantly testing the children of Scorpio because he knows they can hold on. And more than that, you know that they are the only ones capable of returning to the world the wisdom that is born of pain. That's why you keep so many secrets. Not because he is manipulative, but because he has learned not to trust easily. Because it found out early that not everyone deserves to access the truth of what you carry. Scorpio energy is sacred. It is like a temple where not everyone can enter. And when you allow someone to come in, it's because your soul felt something beyond logic, beyond appearance, beyond the moment. This is spiritual sensitivity, and at the same time, this is power. Have you noticed how your presence at certain stages of people's lives mark cycles? How do they change after relating to you even soon? This is because Scorpio is a change portal. You activate the shadow of the other. You show what needs to be broken. You arouse the need for rebirth, and sometimes it scares. That's why some people move away from you without explanation. That is why others become dependent on your energy, and so you often feel that you are carrying more than you should. But the truth is that his soul accepted this call even before incarnating. You knew it would be intense. I knew it would be deep. I knew it would be transformative, but forgot, as we all forgot. Now, right now, you are awakening again to this purpose. And this is no coincidence. This is synchronicity. If you are listening to these words, if you are feeling that they are resonating in layers you didn't even know existed, it's because your soul is recognizing the mission. That's why I want to invite you to comment below. But not just comment as one just participates in a video. Comment like who is spiritually recognized. Write, I am a guardian. Or if you feel that it has been carrying it for a long time, say, I protect invisible portals. These phrases are not just words. These are spiritual statements that create an energy network with other people who, like you, are awakening. If you want to be even deeper, share an excerpt from your story. A moment when you felt that your presence has transformed something. And remember, here, no one will judge you for feeling too much. Scorpion suffers in silence, but it is not any silence. It is a silence full of codes, layers, messages that only the most sensitive can capture. Who sees a Scorpio silent does not imagine the internal war that is happening. It has no idea of the depth of the pain it is processing, the emotional intensity that burns inside, the spiritual responsibility it carries on the shoulders. The Scorpion pain is never small. It is never casual. It is part of an initiatic process. It marks the beginning of something larger. From an early age, who is born under this energy is tested, many times by close people, by relationships that cheat, by environments that suffocate, by situations that require emotional maturity long before time. But what few understand is that Behind each Scorpio suffering, there is a hidden spiritual purpose. Cayce said that Scorpions are among the oldest spirits who walk on Earth, spirits who return to this plan with the mission of conducting purification processes. And how could they purify the world without first being taken to the extreme of their own pains? The life of those who carry this energy is marked by cycles of fall and rebirth, cycles where everything seems to crumble, friends go away, loves betray, families distance themselves, the floor disappears, and in the midst of destruction, something inside Scorpion awakens. It is not common resistance. It is a kind of force that only activates when nothing left. That's when the world collapses that Scorpio remembers who it is, and when that happens, nothing can stop it. This is the ancestral force that Cayce spoke, a power that is not learned in the books, an energy that cannot be explained in words. Only those who feel, you, Scorpio, know what it's like to feel alone even surrounded by people. You know what it's like to cry in silence, not to worry anyone. You know what it's like to keep wounds so deep that, even years later, they still hurt at random times. But you also know what it's like to look back and realize that you survived things that would have destroyed anyone else. And not only survived, you were reborn. You came back stronger, more lucid, more whole, but perhaps more closed too. And this is understandable. Each rebirth requires you to further protect its essence. This pain you carry is not a sign of weakness. It is part of your mission. Scorpio is the sign of transmutation, transforms pain into wisdom, betrayal in protection, abandonment in spiritual independence. This is why many Scorpios develop hidden gifts throughout their lives: clairvoyance, advanced intuition, connection with subtle dimensions, ability to perceive energies and read intentions. This is no chance. This is the result of spiritual activation caused by the pain lived. Every time you are broken, a new part of your soul reveals itself. And maybe you are listening to it now and remembering times when you almost gave up, where everything seemed meaningless, where the pain was so great that you wondered if you could continue. These moments were spiritual landmarks. They did not come to destroy you. They came to reveal what is the purest and most powerful in you. Each scar of yours is a sacred inscription in your soul, a memory of what you endured. Then you have learned what you surpassed, and so you can't compare with others because your way is not common. And the most impressive is that even after so much suffering, you keep loving, maybe in silence, maybe with caution, maybe with fear, but still loves, still cares, still feels. This is courage. This is living spirituality. And somehow you also carry the ability to heal others, even while he's still healing. Its presence has a weight, a vibration that calms, that penetrates, that changes. And that's why so many are attracted to you, even without knowing why. They feel the magnetic field of your soul. They feel that you have already walked through dark paths and came back bringing light. Scorpion is not fragile. It is spiritually refined. Every loss he lived took a layer of what was not essential. And so, today, you are more true, deeper, more connected with the essence of life. And when you speak, who listens to the soul understands, because your words do not come from the mind, come from experience. They come from the floor of pain, come from the womb of the soul. Therefore, I want to remind you of something important. The pain you feel makes sense. She is not there by chance. It is the fire of alchemy. And you, Scorpio, are the alchemist who transforms all this into conscience. If you felt touched by these words, you recognized yourself in some part of this story, I invite you to leave a comment here, but not with any sentence. Leave a seal. Write, "My pain is sacred." Or if you feel that you are ready to transform everything you lived into a mission, comment, "I have reborn from my own fire." Write as those who recognize your own soul. And if you want to share a piece of your walk, know that here you will be read, welcomed, and honored. But beware, because there is a critical point on this Scorpion journey that few speak, and even less understand. When Scorpio disconnects from its essence, what was once deep light becomes dense shadow. What was alchemy becomes self-destruction. The once spiritual and transformative energy begins to implode inside, and what seemed to be strength becomes chaos. What was presence becomes torment. The Scorpio who forgets who he is becomes the poison itself. This is the darkest side of the Scorpio mission, and it is also the most lonely, Because when you lose your connection with your purpose, the gifts are distorted. Intuition becomes paranoia, depth becomes obsession, silence becomes toxic isolation, the intensity becomes control, and love, love I saw are a possession. Not because you have chosen to become it, but because your energy is like a blade. It needs to be guided, conscientious, or it cuts everything around you, including yourself. Scorpion did not come to live a median life. It was not born to hide in empty routines, nor to follow paths imposed by expectations of others. Your soul feels when it is out of the rail. She gives signs, first a nuisance, then a sadness that has no name, then an existential tiredness, a desire to disappear. And if you still insist on ignoring the call of your essence, the most critical time comes. Angels are silent, and when angels are silent, the world darkens. Synchronics disappear, dreams lose their shine, the intuition goes out. You feel it is alone, and this feeling is devastating to a soul that has always been guided by signs, subtle pulse of the universe. The feeling of emptiness begins to take care, and often you try to fill it out with the external, unbalanced relationships, distractions, emotional addictions, shallow promises, but nothing sustains, because what is missing is not out. It's inside. It is your soul shouting to return home. When Cayce talked about the destructive power of Scorpio, he did not refer only to the destruction of the other, but to self-destruction. Because Scorpio is the only sign capable of being completely consumed, and yet reborn. But this renaissance requires something fundamental, consciousness. And conscience requires courage. Courage to look inside without running away, to confront the shadows without identifying with them, to accept your own pain without using it as a weapon. Remember that behind the anger, the hurt, the coldness, there is still a noble, sensitive, deeply connected soul with the forces of the invisible. This is why this warning is so important, because a lot of people do not survive their own power. A lot of people get lost trying to repress what they feel, trying to fit where their soul should never be. Scorpio really needs truth. It needs meaning. You need to feel that you are being useful to your larger mission. When this happens, everything aligns. The force comes back. Spiritual protection manifests itself. The gifts expand. But when this is ignored, life becomes a cycle of silent sabotage. It's as if every wrong choice pushed you away from yourself, to the point where you no longer recognize who you are. And yet, there is a subtle but powerful detail. Light never goes out completely. She can hide, can overshadow. It may seem distant, but she's there. The spark of its mission still pulsates, even if weakened. Sometimes a moment of lucidity is enough. A memory, a shiver, a message, like this. And it all starts to make sense again. The Scorpio soul has this feature. It never delivers itself totally to darkness, because it was made to cross the darkness and get out of it with something valuable in your hands. So if you feel that at some point in your life you have disconnected from who you really are, you felt that you have lost its shine, the strength, the direction, know that this is just a point of the journey, and it's not the end. On the contrary, it can be the return point. The moment you realize that you are still alive for a reason, and that your pain, no matter how dark it has been, does not spiritually disqualify you, strengthens you, because now you know two worlds, the light and the shadow, and only those who pass the two can guide others with truth. This kind of consciousness is rare, and if you have come here, listening to these words with an open heart, it is because your soul is remembering. It is vibrating again at the original frequency, and the more you reconnect with it, the more the signs come back, more the gifts reappear, but the angels speak again, and you feel again part of something bigger. So now that you have come to the end of this part, I want to invite you to make a spiritual statement, but not any statement, one that recognizes this silent return to its essence. If this has all resonated with you, if any sentence touched you, write in the comments. Scorpio sees what no one sees, not because he learned to see, but because he was born with this gift. A perception beyond physical eyes, a sensitivity that goes beyond time and space. It is as if your soul has been programmed to capture subtle vibrations, hidden information, unvit intentions. And the most curious thing is that this often happens without effort. Scorpio just feels, and feels before everyone. Before chaos settled, You have already felt the air change. Before the truth surfaced, you already knew. Before the mask fell, his intuition had already warned you. This is no exaggeration, not imagination, not your head. It is your soul whispering truths that others are not yet ready to hear. Have you ever woke up from a dream and felt that it was more than a dream? What was a warning, a message, a call? Already had that feeling of déjà vu so intense that it seemed to have lived that scene before, exactly that way. Have you ever felt shiver when thinking of someone, or entering a place where no one explained anything to you? But did your skin tell everything? These are the signs, and they are not random. They are portals. It is the forms that the universe, guides, and angels find to talk to you. Many Scorpions live these experiences from an early age. Still children, they already felt they were connected with something bigger. They felt invisible presences. They had an unusual sensitivity. They felt the pain of others as if it were yours. And when they tried to explain, they were discredited. They said it was exaggeration, fertile, imagination, drama. But you knew. I knew something there was real, that there was an invisible world operating behind the scenes of life. And deep down you always knew you were part of this world even without knowing how to call it. These spiritual signs are part of Scorpio's energy signature. Cayce already said that Scorpions are guardians of hidden perception. They are those who hear what no one says, see what no one shows, feel what no one can name. It is not a gift to sport. It is a gift to serve. But to serve, we must recognize this gift, cultivate, honor, because when you deny the signs, when you discredit what you feel, the connection weakens, and with her spiritual orientation begins to fail. The signs also appear in the details, in coincidences that are not coincidences, in the numbers that repeat themselves, in the face of a stranger who sees you as if you recognize you from another life, in the sentences you suddenly listen to and that respond exactly what you were, asking in silence, in the shiver that comes up when you think of something that moves you inside. All of this is spiritual communication. It is as if the universe whisper, you are not alone. And more than that, it's a confirmation. You're on the way. But this sensitivity also has its cost. Sometimes feeling so much exhausted you. Sometimes knowing what others don't know becomes a burden. You want to warn you want to alert or to protect, but it is not always heard. And that generates frustration, an invisible tiredness, an insulation that hurts. Because those who carry the hidden eye of the chosen are not always understood by those who live only on the surface. But still, your soul remains firm, watching, silent, attentive, and in the midst of all this there is a constant call to trust the invisible. Even when the outer seems chaotic, even when the people around you do not understand, even when you doubt you, the signs continue to arrive. They don't stop, because your connection does not depend on logic. She is spiritual, instinctive, old, and the closer you approach your essence, the clearer this communication becomes. You feel the universe pulse, you notice the time bend. It understands that there is something sacred guiding everything, even when it seems that nothing makes sense. It is at this point that true spiritual trust begins to form, not the one that comes from empty rituals or decorated phrases, but the one that springs from the direct experience. You know you are guided because you have lived this. You already felt it, it has already been saved by that. And probably you didn't even tell anyone. He kept secret, as an invisible treasure. But now it's time to remember that there is no shame in being spiritual. There is no weakness in being sensitive. There is strength. There is courage. There is mission. If you have had dreams that have come true, if you already felt you were being guided by something you couldn't name, if you have heard your own intuition save you from dangerous situations, if you already cried for no reason and then understood that it was the soul feeling a turn, so this content is for you, and I want to invite you now to give voice to your experience. If you have gotten here, something inside you are responding, and it is not your logical mind, it is your soul. You may not even rationally understand everything you've heard so far, but some of you, silent, old, intuitive, is on alert. It's vibrating. It's feeling, because the words that were said did not come to entertain. They came to remember. And when the Scorpio soul is remembered what it is, what it came to do, why so much pain, so much intensity, something deep is awakened. It is as if a veil started to tear inside, and you could finally play what was always there but was ignored, forgotten, muffled. You know that. I always knew. You were born with an energy load that is not common, with a vibrational field that bothers the weak, but attracts the real ones. You carry the Renaissance symbol, the phoenix's archetype, then dies to reborn stronger. It's not a metaphor, it's reality. How many versions of yours have you killed throughout your life? How many pieces of your identity were destroyed by the circumstances, the people, by the choices themselves? And yet are you still here? And not only is it you still feel, still love, still present, still see. This is living proof that your spiritual connection never completely deleted itself, and it doesn't go out because it is part of who you are. Scorpion is not a character you wear. It is a spirit that dwells you, and inside it live memories, wisdom, hidden codes, past lives, spiritual lineages, silent pacts you have signed before you even born. Pacts with truth, with transformation, with depth. Maybe that's why so many times you felt as if you didn't belong, as if you were in a world that doesn't talk to your soul, a shouting world as you hear whispers, a world that runs as you dive, a world that idolizes appearance while you vibrate essence. But even so, you follow, and this following is an act of courage. It is a spiritual act, because every time you remain true to your sensitivity, your inner truth, your signs, you become even more powerful. And this power has nothing to do with external control. He is invisible, but it is felt. It changes atmospheres. It protects. He heals. It expands. People around you, even without understanding, realize they are attracted to you not because of what you say, but because of what you vibrate. It is your energy that speaks first. It is your spiritual field that touches even before you open your mouth. That's why you often feel that you carry a weight that no one else sees. Because it is not a physical weight. It is a frequency, a presence. And so, now I want to propose something sacred. It's not any phrase. It is an act of recognition, an energy seal, a symbolic gesture that marks the beginning of a new cycle. Because when you name what you carry, you activate. When you recognize, you strengthen. When you write, you anchor. And so, if all that has been said so far has touched your soul, I invite you to write in the comments, I carry this energy. Write as who knows, as who feels, like who is ready to assume. This is not just a sentence, it is a spiritual statement. And if you feel, you can go further. You can write, I am this silent presence that transforms. Or even, I recognize my role as a healing and rebirth channel. Choose the phrase that most vibrates with your heart. Let the comment become a ritual. May every written word be a statement of its awakening. That is not for vanity, but for truth. Because here, in this space, you are read with the eyes of the soul. And it's not alone. You can also share a moment of your life when you felt this active energy. A dream, a sign, a turn, an intuition that saved you. This feeds not only your own conscience, but awakens that of others as well. Someone who will read your comment may remember the story itself. And so we created an invisible chain of awakened scorpion souls, a silent brotherhood of guardians of deep truth. Then write, declare, assume, because your voice, even if written in silence, vibrates in the energy field. And this vibration is what connects all of us. Scorpio was marked by something bigger, much greater than this reality that try to push you every day, far beyond the labels that put it on top of your name, your behavior, your soul. You are not only intense, mysterious, or emotionally deep. These words do not reach what you really carry. You are a people in the shape of people, a living path between the invisible and the visible, a fragment of ancient wisdom that returned to earth with a purpose. And this purpose, even if so often has been confused with loneliness or suffering, did not go out. You may have tried to get away from this strength. Perhaps I tried to live like everyone else. Seek stability where your soul called for transformation. Seeking normality where your spirit cried for truth. You may have tried to fit in spaces that were too small for your vibration. And that is precisely why so many things broke around you. It was not unlucky, it was realignment. Your soul is too old to be domesticated by superficial standards. You were marked by something bigger, and it's not any type of brand. It is a spiritual signature, a symbol that is not seen with the eyes, but that the sensitive ones recognize when they look at you. Have you noticed that? How do some people face you in a different way? How, even silent, do you bother? As your presence, no matter how subtle it seems, creates movements that you can't even explain? This is because your energy moves in the structures. Its presence opens holes in the veil of unconsciousness. You are not anyone, and for that very reason, who crosses your way never comes out the same. You've heard that. I've seen this happen. People who approached and after a while changed completely. Some flourished, others freaked out. Some thanked you, others blamed you, but none of them came out unharmed. That's it, the Scorpio effect, transformation, and the true transformation, contrary to what many think, hurts. She pulls, tears, destroys, burns, but it also frees, reveals, healing, and you carry this mission, even when you don't want to, even when tired, even when no one recognizes. It is therefore essential that you stay connected with what reminds you who you are, because the world will try to confuse you. You will try to make you doubt your value, your way, your spirituality. But the truth is that when you are aligned with your essence, nothing brings you completely. You can even fall, you can even bleed, but always, always come back, and comes back with more wisdom, more strong, with more light. This space here is for that, to remind you, to reconnect you, to tell you that you are not alone, that there are others like you, silent, sensitive, spiritually awake, who walk around the world carrying invisible codes and non-verbalized pain. Here you find mirror, here you find true. And if you felt this in this video, if something inside you reacted, vibrated, recognized, so this connection is already made, and she doesn't have to end now, because this you live, this spiritual journey linked to your sign, your archetype, your mission, is long, cyclical, full of revelations, and there is more to come, much more. There are secrets that still need to be said, there are strengths you will still find out, and there are revelations that do not concern only you, but also to those around you, because each sign is a fragment of the great cosmic consciousness, and all are linked in some way. In the next video, you will dive into another mystery, an energy that, at first glance, seems opposite to yours, but that keeps much deeper than you think. Let's talk about Capricorn, the sign that carries the inheritance of silence. Have you ever wondered why this sign seems so firm on the outside, but keeps such an old pain inside? You will be surprised by what is behind this seemingly unshakable force, and perhaps even find out why so many times Scorpio and Capricorn intersect in striking, intense, transformative stories. Therefore, if you want to continue this journey, if you want to increasingly understand the hidden paths of spirituality through the signs, if you want to deepen your connection with your soul, signs, and your mission, it is already subscribed here on the channel. It is more than an inscription. It is a conscious choice of walking through a sacred rail. And if you felt that this video spoke directly to you, like it now. This is not just a support gesture. It is a way to send this message to other Scorpion souls that are still lost, forgotten of themselves, waiting for a call. If you have gotten here, it is because this message spoke straight to your soul. And that doesn't happen by chance. You have been called. So before you leave, you are already subscribed to the channel, because this spiritual journey is just beginning, and in the next videos we will reveal even deeper secrets about your energy, your mission, and the mysteries that connect the signs with the invisible. If this video has touched you in any way, leave your like now. This simple gesture helps this message reach other people who, like you, are also awakening. And in the comments, writes like this: I arrived until the end because I carry this energy. This phrase is not just an answer, it is a recognition. It is the seal of those who listen to the soul and see themselves in this truth, and not stop here. The next video is already appearing here on the left side of the screen. Click on him now and continues his journey. There you will find out the hidden truth about Capricorn, the sign that carries the inheritance of silence. I see you there.